Happy Saturday, everyone. It's Dawn. How are you? It is gloomy and rainy here in Chicago, and I am just hoping for a little bit of sunshine. We have daylight savings time tonight, so we get a few more minutes, actually a little bit more time of daytime, so I'm really excited about that. It means spring is right around the corner. I want to talk to you a little bit about navigating as we head into these summer months. And gosh, I've really been torn. I've had a lot of mixed emotions about this particular topic. And I just want to start by being really honest and vulnerable with you, because this has been a topic that's been of a challenge for me as of late. When I think of navigation, and I talked a little bit yesterday about processes and putting daily habits into place, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your finances, it's in your marriage, it's in your health and wellness journey, whatever it is, we are ultimately the result of our daily habits, right? So how do we change those habits essentially to get to where we want to go? And I personally am a big picture person. I'm a visionary, I'm a dreamer. I have my sights set on very specific goals. And Larry is the realist in this relationship. He keeps me grounded. He keeps me dealing with facts. And I think sometimes that's where we run into struggles, whether it's in our business, in our marriage, whatever it is, because we have two different types of people, right? And if you learn to play on that, if you learn to understand that having those differences is actually a complement to achieving your goals, it's going to make you that much stronger. So let's talk about this navigating process for just a moment. And I'm just going to talk from a couple different dichotomies, whether it's business or whether it's relationship. The one that's near and dear to me right now is business. I stepped out of an industry profession that I was excelling in. I stepped out of a space that I was doing really well in, not necessarily by my own choice, but just by circumstances a few years ago. And I had a big vision. I had a big vision for stepping back into the space and building our own network marketing business and taking my years of experience in leadership development and coaching, having been on the corporate side. And I was full throttle, ready to go in and attack this space. The challenge was, it was a very different space than what I was used to. It was completely different than a previous model. And I think that happens to us a lot of times. We step into something new, our uncharted waters, so to say, and if we don't have a plan, if we don't know exactly how we're going to navigate those waters, we can wind up in a little bit of a hiccup, or we can wind up really down the wrong path. We just become disoriented, we become confused. I mean, I know personally, I got really scared, I was disillusioned, I was very disappointed, and I decided, you know what, I need to create a new plan. I need to learn how to manage this new space well, right? It happens all the time with my clients. It's something new, it's something different. It's completely a change from the environment that they're used to operating within. I'm trying to help them to understand how to fuel the body and not necessarily continue to diet for the rest of their lives, right? So when it's in business, we have to take a step back and go, all right, how is this different? How is this better? What are the goals that I have, and how am I going to navigate these waters? So I just want to take you just on a journey, and hopefully this will resonate with some of you as you're trying to navigate some new spaces in your life, in your family, in your business, in your marriage. Perhaps you've reached a hiccup or plateau, right? And you're trying to figure out how to get out of where you're at right now. Like, how do we make this better? Well, without a plan, without a vision of where you want to be long term, it's very difficult to make anything better, whether it's business or whether it's relationships or whether it's what's going on here in your family. So it's having a big picture, right? It's seeing the vision of where you want to go. For me, I had to take a step back, probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I had to course correct, really. And I had to say, okay, you know what I'm doing, I had success in the past, right? But it was a different experience. Where I want to go is going to require me to learn a whole new level of skills. It's going to require me to become a student again, to invest more time, effort, energy again. And nobody likes to start all over, guys. Nobody likes to learn a new craft. Nobody likes to change, right? We're creatures of habit, so change is very, very difficult. We get stuck in our day-to-day so often, and if you don't course correct, you're never going to reach the goals, right? So we have to change habits, we have to change patterns, we have to change behaviors. And navigation is difficult for me. It really, truly is. So what I needed to do was I needed to surround myself with people that were doing what I wanted to do, with people that were at where I wanted to be, okay? And as I looked sideline, I was like, you know what? I've got to think bigger. I've got to look for more. I've got to find direction, and I've got to lean in on the people that have already navigated these waters, people that have already laid out the plans. And so the past year and a half, 2 years, I've truly become a student of exactly what my organization needs to accomplish and how I need to step up and be in the space that I need to be. And it required a lot of intrinsic change. And I just have to ask you, you know what? Are you willing to go through that personal change in order to navigate these waters? Are you willing to go and make it ugly and be humble and say, I don't know, I need help, and relinquish some of that control? More often than not, you know, we're hung up on fear. We're hung up and we're still celebrating past successes, and we're not willing to become a student again. We're not willing to change. We aren't willing to surround ourselves by other people and let them take the lead. We have to learn how to manage our day-to-day really, really well in order to reach any kind of goal. For me, I was doing a lot of things unconsciously, right? And I know many of you have heard the difference between a conscious competent and an unconscious competent. There were a lot of things that I was doing, conversations that I was having, just because I taught this content. I understood a lot of this. So unconsciously, I just did a lot of things well. Consciously, I didn't know how to duplicate that anymore. In this new space, I didn't understand how to break down what I was doing because I was relying on old skill sets. So I had to enlist a couple good coaches that helped me break down those dynamics. They helped me to break down those mechanics, right? Because I clearly know, and this is part of the plan, this is part of the blueprint. So as you navigate your waters, whether it's business, okay, if it's your marriage, it's your relationship, if it's your finances, you have to have a blueprint, right, of exactly where you want to go, what you want to have saved, what you want to have, the debt you want to have paid off. In your marriage, you know what, we want to be able to do this for our family, and we want to be able to, you know, be on the same page, you know, and you know, what does it look like? Is it retreats? Is it seminars that you attend? Is it counseling for finances? Is it a blueprint of a war on debt? You know, what is it? In business, for me, it was, I knew exactly what I needed to accomplish, you know, and I had to start from the top down, right? I know exactly what level so many leaders in my organization need to be at for me to reach the income goals that I have, right? And if that's the case, right, because remember, in network marketing and party plan, in that space, in a lot of industries, you're working with a volunteer army. So right? You're leading a whole group of volunteers that they don't have to be here if they don't want to, right? They don't have to step into the business if they don't want to. Is your vision enough for them to attach to you as a leader, right? Are you casting vision? And I had to be really, really clear, and you can probably see behind me. This is just an idea of my dream session that I have done. I have goals sitting around me that are visual reminders. I have a very clear vision of where I want to take my organization. So one, you've got to get really clear on your vision. Do your goals, do your dream session, right? Plan it out. What's your vision for your marriage? What's your vision for your finances? Once you have a vision, now you really need to align yourself with some mentors, some individuals that have done what you want to do. There's a lot of noise in this industry. There's a lot of noise in this space. And I really started to pay attention. I said, okay, if I'm the product of the 5 people that I surround myself with, who do I want in the back seat of my car? Who do I want speaking into me? When I think about a decision that I have to make in my business, and we'll talk about that once we get to the inner circle, but who do I want in my head? What voices do I want to constantly be hearing? And so I had to get really clear. And so I know what level leaders in my business need to be at, right? I know exactly what we need to accomplish. Hey Dan, how are you? Thanks for being here. I know what we need to accomplish as far as how many people my organization needs to bring in, how much volume does that allocate into my business infrastructure on a month-to-month basis. What does that trickle down effect look like? So based on that volume and those types of promotions, okay, how do I get to that volume? Well, that means that we need to have so many enrollments on a monthly basis. And if I need to have that many enrollments, how many conversations do I need to be having? And what's the conversion rate out of those conversations? And if that's my conversion rate, then how many people on a daily basis do I and do my team members need to be speaking to? But again, here's the reality, okay, is that we are working with a volunteer army. And you as a leader, and if navigation like me is not your strong suit, you have to partner with people that have very good navigation skills. They're very process-oriented people. I know the numbers that I need to reach, right? But what happened, my gap, was implementing the strategies to get to those numbers. I was very emotionally attached to. So if you're very emotionally attached to the outcome, what does that mean? What does that look like? And I know many of you are like this. So if you know what you need to accomplish, you know what they need to accomplish. There's a whole bunch of people saying, yes, I want this, I want to do this. And then their actions don't follow suit to their words. Here's the reality. You cannot stress over inconsistent people. You just can't. And that comes from upline, downline, doesn't matter who it is. If they're inconsistent, you can't stress over it. You've got to step out, step up, reach out, find the people that are consistently doing and have reached the level that you want to reach, and you have got to fill your head with their voices, their noise, right? And if you don't, you're going to continue to stay stuck where you're at. So again, it has to go back to the navigation, has to go back to the day-to-day habits, the processes that you're implementing. If you're not good with processes, find somebody who is. I had to relinquish control, and I love to train, love to speak. In case you haven't figured that out, love to talk. But I've been hiding. I've been beige, and I have a coach that keeps telling me, stop being beige, Dawn. And I'm like, what does beige mean? What does it mean? And you know what? You just have to put yourself out there. You have to find your voice again. You have to step out, and then you've got to align with people who will help you implement the processes that need to be implemented so it takes the weight off your shoulder. I was in training And I would do this, and week in, week out, you know, you see who shows up, right? If they don't show up, they're not engaged. They're not committed to this process. You've got to show up every step of the way. And you as a leader have to show up too. You've got to do the do. You've got to commit and follow through to what you say you're going to do. So I would get frustrated. I would be like, it like would suck my energy from me when people didn't show up, because I wanted it so much more for them than they wanted it for themselves. And I had to detach myself from that, because the only way I could stay convicted to my processes and convicted to what I needed to do on a day-to-day basis was to not let myself be emotionally zapped by people that were inconsistent, okay? So once I relinquished control of that to an amazing trainer and coach in my life, okay, and he took the reins on that, guess what? My energy changed. I felt like this new lease on my business, because he was able to navigate an area where I felt that I was struggling, because I was learning a new craft. I was learning this new business. I've spent the past year and a half, 2 years assessing my processes, you know, dissecting what I did, what was working, what wasn't working, and trying to course correct every single step of the way. The definition of insanity, guys, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. You've got to break the pattern now. If things aren't moving as fast as you want, you can't compare yourself to anybody else's journey. You just can't do it. But you have to realize that we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, right? I will never be a perfect leader, okay? But I do know that by surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me and better than me, and that they're more skilled than me, I will essentially like reach the goals that I have. And I, you know, I know that we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, we're all really innately talented at some things. And I am, and it's really hard for me to give up control. But if you're that type of person that's holding on to every facet of your business and trying to like muscle people in to doing what you want them to do, you've got to remember that everybody is on their own path too. Everybody is charting their own waters, they're steering their own ship. But if they haven't laid out a blueprint, if they haven't laid out a plan, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's my challenge to you. I really want you to think about over the next couple days, like, what's your blueprint? What's your plan? Do you know how many people in your business need to reach a certain level in order for you to reach your goals, right? Do you understand that this is about them and not about you? And I love the adage of, if you help enough people, right, get to where they want to go, you in essence will reach your goals every step of the way. And so I've had to shift my sights back onto the things that matter most, and that's the people that I surround myself with. I hope that helps somebody today. I hope that gives you a little bit of enlightenment, that as you think about this navigation topic, I really want you to think about you as a leader. And if you enjoy steering the ship, okay, that's fabulous. Everybody likes to be the captain of the boat. But if you haven't laid out the course, chartered the course, if you haven't laid out the plan, if you don't have a clear vision of exactly not only where you're going, but where your organization's going, your team is going, your family's going, if you haven't laid out exactly where your marriage is going. Larry and I see, ourselves sitting overlooking water in 5 years, and with cups of coffee in our hand, and really, traveling the country and working with our team and building a legacy business and building a financial wall around our family, our kids, their kids, right? Do you see your vision? So get really clear about your vision and where you're going, because we got a long way ahead of us over the next 16, 17 more days. Have a great one, everyone.